Hello, welcome to Scrappy Loom Sewing. I'm JC Joellen, and it's been quite some time since my last video, so I'd like to start by saying I hope that you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I pray that this year is better than last year and the year before for all of us, in the name of Jesus. But I just want to get started by working on a Drunkards Path block. It's a variation of the Drunkards Path block. What makes it a little different is I'm using my Scrappy mats to create the curved section. You can see it on the back wall here. That is the block. It's a 24-inch finished block, and the segments here I am using my Scrappy mats to create. And if you're not sure what the Scrappy mats are, you can go to my scrapplique video and it'll show you how to make those. I will leave a link at the bottom of this one. But what the Scrappy mats are pieces of fabric that I have created using scraps. And then I take this and I cut out pieces to make appliques. It's stitched down with the quilting stitch so that the pieces are stable and they won't come up when it's washed or whatever, but the edges are unfinished, but they make really cute appliques, and it looks like you've really put a whole lot into it, and they're really easy to make though. I use them a lot now. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to update that video because I've changed a couple of steps to make it even easier than the way that they are in the scrapplique video. It's easy in that, but it's easier now with my other steps. So, what you will need to make this block is 16 6.5-inch background squares, and you need 4 8.5-inch diameter circles for the curved pieces. So, to get started, you will need enough Scrappy mats to make 4 8.5-inch diameter circles. I used a plate. You can buy templates for these at the store, or you can create your own with freezer paper or cardboard. I used a plate because it cost me not a dime, and I love that. I've already got a ton of sewing stuff, and right now I don't need to be spending money on that. So I used a plate. You can use anything around your house that's got the right size for you. You don't have to make 8.5 inches. You can change the block size if you want. But to make this one, which is a 24-inch finished block, I used 8.5-inch diameter circles. And I just took the plate and traced it on the back of my Scrappy mat. And then I cut it out. And you want to cut with a smooth line. You want it to be really nicely cut out. And once you've done that, you end up with a circle that looks like this. Now, once I've got my 4 circles for the Scrappy mat, then you want to cut this into quarters. And the way that I do that is I fold it in half. Let me change my camera so that you can see how I do it. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. So, what I do is I take the circle and I fold it in half. I take a hot iron and I press along the fold, just on the edges. Just enough to make a crease that stays. Then I will take it and quarter it. And press again on the new fold. Just on the edges there so that it leaves a crease. So I'm going to use that crease as a cutting line. So once I have done that, I will take it and open it up and cut along the fold lines. With my ruler and rotary cutter. And once I have done that, oops, I end up with 4 segments. Just like this. And then I take these and I make the curved segment of the Drunkard's Path pattern. What's making it different is it's got all this little piecework into the curved segments. And it really adds a lot of dimension to it, and they really look really neat. So, next I would take my 16-inch background squares and lay them in an order that I find pleasing. These are already I've already been playing with these a little bit before I turn the camera on, so I know how I want them. But I'll just take them and lay them in place. You can use, I used a number of prints, but they're not all different. Some of them do repeat. So you can use some that repeat, or you could do 16 different fabrics. And then you just lay them all out in an order that you like. And then once you've done that, we're going to place the quarter segments on these background squares to make the Drunkard's Path design that I had on my wall. So, there, I like that. Next, I would take my Drunkard's Path segments, the quarter circles, the circle quarters, I should say, I guess, and put them, the big square, I'm going to look at the big square first, and I'm going to put these in each corner. The point is at the outer edge. Then I'm going to work with this small circle in the center, small square in the center. And I'm going to do the same thing there. The point is on the outer edge. Next, we're going to do the half circle here. And then we need another half circle here. And the point on these is to the inner edge, inner corner. And we're going to do this all the way around, which is going to give us our design. And so there's my Drunkard's Path design. Then I would sit and play around with this until I've got the color placement the way that I want it. Now, I've already played with this a little bit before the camera, and I like it like this. However, I think I'm going to change these corner segments. I'll use these in a different one, a different block. And I'm going to put the pieces on that I just made. Because I think this pulls it all together more. And there, I like that much better. So, that's how you get, that's how simple it is. Now, once you've got it like this, you can either pin these in place, each little segment, pin it in place on the square, or what I like to do is I keep my scraps of my Stitch Witchery. Stitch Witchery is a fusible webbing, so it's a glue that you heat with the iron, and then it makes the fabric stick. So I keep little pieces of this. Hey, my mama taught, waste not, want not. That's what I live by. So anyway, I keep these little segments, and I will put them on the, underneath the circle quarter. And then I will take my iron and press it into place. have my iron right on top of my cutting table, so I can easily pick them up and press them and then put them back in the same spot without losing placement, without getting them confused about where they go. But if you don't have that, just be careful how you pick them up. Pick them up in an order that will keep you organized. So, like for example, if I was taking all these over to my sewing machine to press them like this, or even once you've got them pinned, you still want to keep them in order. I pick them up from left to right. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 all the way down. That way, when I put them back, I just got to take from the top of the stack and go left to right, all the way down again, and they'll be right in order. So, but what I do is, like I said, is I press my stitch witchery to the back, and you see how that holds it in place? Then I can take this over to the sewing machine. I'll take you over here so you can see. I will take this to my sewing machine. And just zigzag the edge, or I can do a blind hem stitch on the edge. I'm going to do a zigzag because that's going to help to prevent fraying. And you could also hand stitch it and do a buttonhole stitch or a blind hem stitch. I mean a buttonhole stitch or a, oh, I can't think of the other name of it. It's used a lot in applique, but anyway, it's a buttonhole stitch, same thing as a buttonhole stitch. And so I'm going to bring this over here, and then I will just zigzag this edge. And you want to have the zigzag stitch so it falls off of this piece, but right up against it. And that will prevent fraying. Just do this all the way around on each background square. And you end up with a piece like this. And look how neat that is. So then I'll take it back over here and I will put it back in place. After I've stitched them all, I'll lay them back in order. And after that, I will start sewing the background blocks together. So I'll take these two, lay them on top of each other, stitch a 1/4 inch seam here. I'll lay them together, stitch a 1/4 inch seam, bring it back, put it in place. I'll do that. So these two together, these two together, these two together. Then I'll come over here and I'll sew these two together, these two together, these two together, these two together. And once I've done that, I'll end up with segments that I have already done. I'll bring them over for you to see. So you end up with segments that look like these. These are already sewn together. And I'll just lay them back out, which actually as I'm sewing, I'm laying them out, but in this particular case, I'm going to show you how it will look once the two are together. And you see how if you just pick them up in order, you can put them right back down in order without wasting a bunch of time trying to figure out how you had them. So there's another one. Now what you want to make sure you're doing when you're stitching your two pieces together, so now, because now I'm going to take these two and stitch these together here. Now here you've got some matching up to do. You want to make sure that you match the top of the circles here. You don't have to worry so much about the bottom. You just need to make sure that at the bottom you have enough to catch it into the 1/4 inch seam. This doesn't have to match down here as far as they don't have to be even. They just need to be caught in, it has to be enough to be caught into the 1/4 inch seam. Over here, you want to make sure this top part matches perfectly, because that's the part that'll be seen. So what I'm talking about is, you can see on the one I've got on the wall, you can see here, this one's matched up perfectly. It looks really nice. This one has a jog, because they didn't quite match. And that's what you want to prevent. You want them to look like this one. Perfect. So, that's the main thing. You want to make sure you match that top curve. So then you'll sew these segments of 2 together. Put them here. And you will match this up here. Make sure you've got these matched up when you pin it, or yeah, pin these. I don't fuse these. But once I've got this matched up here, like that, there, perfect. Then I will stitch a 1/4-inch seam here. Stitch just there, and I'll do the same thing here. There's no matching on this one. Just put them together, stitch the seam. No matching here. Just put them together, stitch the 1/4-inch seam, and then down here you're going to have to match up again. So I roll this back and make sure that curve is falling where I want it to, and then I will stitch those 2 together. Pin it, take it over to the sewing machine, and stitch. So once I have it matched up, I'll just pin it, take it over, and stitch it down. And you end up with segments that look like this. You end up with rows of background squares. And now you will stitch your rows together. And when you stitch your rows together, you want to make sure that your blocks match up, the seams match up. So what I like to do when I press them is press the seams in opposite directions. If I press all the seams to the right on this row, I press them all to the left on this one. Then to the right and then to the left. That way they will nest when you put them together. So here, you can just push those 2 together and they nest right up. And that means they're matched up perfectly. And I'll stitch again with a 1/4-inch seam all the way down the row. All the way down the row. Do that each time. And you end up with your finished block. Just like that. And I think it's very impactful. Very easy to make. 9 of these plus a 10-inch border will make a queen size quilt. And they come together so fast. It would be no time at all to put a queen size quilt together. So I love it. And when I get my finished quilt done, I will show you on a video. I've got a number of them that I want to pull together from my videos. And then once I've done that, I will do a video showing you the finished quilts from each video. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell and the thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And I hope to see you again with the next video. Goodbye and God bless. Much love. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.